Are we alone in the universe? There's no way to know yet. But humanity isn't taking any chances. In 1977, the Voyager spacecrafts carried 2 golden records into space, each containing sounds and images designed to explain life on Earth. The idea is that aliens will find them, have the proper technology to play a 1977 record, and then learn about our little planet. Maybe they'll pay us a visit. What could go wrong? Well, it turns out a lot. The idea of making contact with aliens has been a fixation for us since the beginning of the space age, and most scenarios begin the same way. An alien spaceship lands and out come some little green or gray men, and they say, "Take us to your leader," and they get to meet the president. Okay, so now what? Well, if you ask the hopeful people who can't wait for aliens to visit us, they'll tell you that only good things are coming. Aliens will probably bring technology far beyond ours, and they'll be excited to share it with us. Maybe we'll get the technology they use to clone bodies and conquer death. Maybe they'll take us on a tour of the cosmos at light speed. Maybe we'll even get those flying cars they promised us in the Jetsons. And all thanks to our new high-tech friends from the stars. No wonder everyone was so excited about them paying us a visit. But the reality might be very different. Scientists are the ones responsible for reaching out into space and finding evidence of life, but if you talk to many of them, they're the ones most nervous about finding out if there actually is someone else out there watching. And when scientists are concerned, we should probably listen, right? While they're continuing the efforts to unmask the hidden faces in the galaxies far beyond ours, many also privately say that the odds are, if we do succeed, the result could be a very harsh awakening about our place in the universe. Because we may not be the top dogs anymore. Humanity has dominated Earth as the only sapient species for over 1 million years, and we really don't have any competitors. The only real threat to us seems to be ourselves. But in terms of space travel, we can still only cover a very small area. Humanity has gotten to the moon, sent complex unmanned probes to Mars, and conducted surveillance missions in the Milky Way. Some of the furthest reaching probes we've sent are one-way missions, and we're pretty confident at this point that there isn't any other intelligent life in the solar system that we're close to discovering. While it's possible that life could exist or previously has existed on Mars or some of the large moons of the gas giants like Titan or Io, most of the landscapes in our solar system are deeply inhospitable to the development of life, which means any life that comes looking for us would come from much further. And that means that any alien species that makes contact with us would likely be much more advanced than us, and we'd be dependent on their goodwill once they arrive. The best case scenario is that the aliens who find us would be fellow scientists looking to learn about our culture and then leave. We likely wouldn't have much to offer them, but hopefully they would be followers of the famous Star Trek concept of the Prime Directive, which is that advanced species in the Starfleet should not interfere with the development of more primitive cultures. But even that has its risks. Imagine if an alien spaceship shows up on Earth, scans us for information, and then leaves because it didn't think we were worth talking to. Way to cause global psychological breakdown, aliens. But most scenarios paint a much bleaker picture. The take-us-to-your-leader aliens are one kind of visitors from the stars, but another is much less friendly. How many movies have begun with aliens landing and immediately attacking Earth? What do they want exactly? Humans to take upstairs for probing? Maybe it's a hunting expedition for an alien bachelor party. No matter the cause for an alien invasion, the harsh fact is that humanity would have very little chance to defend itself against an alien invasion because their technology would be incredibly advanced compared to ours. You can call in the team from Top Gun to scramble the fighter jets, but the odds are that any spaceship that could travel across multiple galaxies to find us would be able to handle any technology we have. But what if the aliens aren't even here for us? One of the most iconic depictions of an alien invasion in film history is the 1996 movie Independence Day, which saw countless disc-like alien ships descend to Earth without a word and attack, blowing up major cities and shooting lasers into massive holes they created in Earth's crust. Humanity did wind up winning, partially thanks to a pilot sacrificing himself and flying directly into the mothership, but the scariest thing wasn't the scope of the invasion, it was the reasoning. The aliens didn't care about humanity, they simply wanted to mine the planet for its resources and then leave a destroyed husk in its place. They didn't care about the small, primitive animals living on the surface, and if an advanced alien species just decided they wanted to use humanity for resources, there would likely be very little we could do to resist. Good thing there's no history of humanity doing that, right? Maybe the biggest threat of an alien invasion is that humanity would wind up being the latest victim of alien colonialism. The same brutal story from human history would play out once again. A society is largely keeping to itself when suddenly ships appear on the horizon. The colonists say they're here to civilize the tribe and take it over in the name of some glorious far-flung empire. In the best-case scenario, the tribe loses its independence and many of its traditions. There might be forced assimilation, the taking of children to be educated included in the colonizer's system and the imposition of a new government. And that's the best-case scenario. Many colonizers viewed the people they colonized as less than human. They would enslave them and force them to work their own land for resources to be taken back to the colonial power. If they resisted, they would be brutally killed. And many colonizers committed outright genocides on the indigenous people. So one of the biggest risks of alien contact is that the aliens wouldn't view us as their equals at all, but as their new property. But the danger to the natives during colonization wasn't just in terms of the occupiers' actions. In many cases, the population was decimated not by murder, but by disease. The natives lived in their own ecosystem, and the colonizers brought their own diseases from the homeland. The immune system of the natives was unprepared, and many were wiped out by diseases including smallpox and cholera. This was weaponized by cruel colonists at times, but most of the deaths were the result of accidental exposure. The good news is medical science has advanced a lot since then, and the introduction of new alien diseases would be studied by scientists who might be able to cure them in short order, but only if they followed the rules we know. Novel viruses do pop up regularly, but they're usually closely related to another virus that already exists. When COVID-19 popped up and devastated the world in 2020, scientists who were working to develop a vaccine for past coronaviruses, including the common cold, jumped into action, and they were able to create working vaccines in less than a year. But without that base of knowledge, trying to decipher an alien virus would be like trying to crack a cipher in a completely new language. And that's assuming that it doesn't just wipe out humanity in a hurry because our immune systems are uniquely vulnerable from the first handshake. And that's not the only bad scenario that includes disease. Assuming that we are the less advanced species in the equation, it makes sense that we'd be the most vulnerable to the disease, but that might not always be the case. A more advanced species might also be a more sterile one, and it's possible that the aliens may not be able to handle disease. Thus, the scenario could be flipped. Peaceful aliens make first contact, shake hands, and come down with all our diseases. Suddenly, we have a dead alien delegation on our hands. In the best-case scenario, it's a massive missed opportunity that may never be recovered. In the worst-case scenario, we now have an angry second delegation wearing biohazard suits coming to sterilize the planet. And that's not the only way an alien organism could affect the planet. Alright, so let's go for a slightly less intense first contact scenario. Say humanity manages to land on the moon of Io, get under the atmosphere, and they discover a strange creature living there. It's about the size of a rabbit made out of what looks like black stone. It's kinda cute. The mission brings one back to Earth to study it, and then it turns out that that creature reproduces asexually and lives off the oxygen in Io's atmosphere that is mostly made up of sulfur dioxide. Exposed to Earth's atmosphere filled with oxygen, it starts reproducing exponentially, consuming the resources we need to live. It's like the trouble with tribbles as an apocalyptic event. Is this an unlikely series of events? Sure, but given how little we know about the possibility of life outside of Earth, it's impossible to rule anything out. We are staring into the unknown, and scientists say that it should scare us. Scientists like nuclear physicist Enrico Fermi have looked at the possibility of contact with another species and observed that it seems like if they were out there, they probably should have contacted us by now. The explanation for why they haven't is that the scenarios where intelligent life can develop are exceedingly rare, and with the universe being over 13 billion years old and human life existing for only around 2 million years, the pockets of time in which we could make contact are few and easy to miss. Any first contact would be extremely risky and likely involve contact between two planets at drastically different stages of their development. It's entirely possible that 100 million years ago, some enterprising aliens discovered Earth, came to visit, and got eaten by massive reptiles. Their homeworld marked a do not visit sign on Earth and haven't been back since. But surely it's not all bad news, right? Well, let's say everything goes right, and our space program advances to the point where we can explore more outside of our galaxy, and we make contact with another species from a neighboring galaxy. They're similarly advanced, maybe a century or so in terms of progress beyond us, including having a universal translator that makes communication possible. We're able to make first contact in neutral space and bring the knowledge we've gained back to Earth to figure out what to do next. Now, we have to deal with the biggest problem of making alien first contact, having to deal with humanity itself. The sad fact is, humans can't agree on anything, and that's likely to continue here. While humans have been fascinated with the concept of alien first contact for a long time, they're not exactly prepared to do it, and the discovery would be one of the biggest moments in human history. So, what could go wrong? Try just about everything imaginable. Humanity has had some test runs for alien landings, and generally the response is complete chaos and an overeagerness for violence. You just have to look back at what happened in Flatwoods, West Virginia in 1952. It was September 12th when two brothers and their friends saw something streak through the sky that seemed to land on a plot of a nearby farmer. They went and told a local woman who accompanied the three boys alongside a local National Guardsman and two children they let tag along with them. When they reached the top of the hill, the group claims to have seen a tall figure with a round red face surrounded by what looked like a massive hood. While this is now believed to have been a barn owl perching on a dead tree, it caused a panic in the town that created a decades-long mystery and no shortage of people ready to confront a space alien without a moment's hesitation. And that reveals another potential problem with first contact: who gets to do the contact? Assuming we're not being invaded, we still know essentially nothing about alien cultures. We have no way of knowing what their culture is like. A handshake, the most famous human greeting, might be an unpardonable insult in alien culture because they consider the hands to be the most unclean part of the body. The only way to find out is trial and error, and then we have to hope that they are a particularly reasonable species. Odds are those first few days after the first contact might be some of the most tense in human history. But it is nothing compared to what would be going on back at Earth. The odds are that everyone would want a piece of the aliens, figuratively and in some cases literally. World governments would be competing to get the first face-to-face meeting with the alien leader, no doubt explaining to them who the good guys are and the bad guys are on Earth. The edge would go to whoever space program discovered the aliens, but the opportunity is so big that no one should be surprised if it turns into a shooting war to be first in line, and that means that the alien delegation could be caught in the middle. But what if it's not a government at all? The process of space exploration has been increasingly privatized, especially in the United States. Struggles back home and a lack of progress in making big leaps has led to many countries to cut funding for their space programs, and into the breach stepped billionaires Elon Musk, Richard Branson, and Jeff Bezos. They focused so far on heading to Mars and sending unmanned spacecraft into deep space, but if they made contact with an alien species first, it would put the governments of the world into a sticky situation. While Musk does partner with NASA on many of his space projects, there's no guarantee that the messages would sync up when it comes time to make contact. And that's to say nothing of the chaos in other areas. No one would be shaken more by alien contact than the religious of the world. Most have a doctrine that humanity was created in God's image, and most either quietly or loudly believe that we're the only intelligent life in the universe. The discovery of another intelligent species would result in a crisis of faith not seen before in human history. Some religions might change up their doctrine to account for it, others might see people leave the faith as it no longer makes sense to them, yet others might preach that the aliens are agents of the devil and should be opposed at any cost, potentially putting the alien delegation in danger when they arrive. And yet another group might try to convert the aliens to their faith. Don't worry, the human escorts will likely just tell them to ignore the pamphlets. But religious fervor isn't the only kind of fervor they might encounter. What's one of the most dramatic issues of the modern day? Immigration. Not only are many countries concerned with keeping their borders secure, but many people don't even like the idea of immigrants coming in legally. There have been calls for reducing the number of visas given for work and visitation, as well as some demanding to eliminate birthright citizenship that grants citizenship to any child born in the country to a foreign parent. And that's just other humans. So what happens when the sky parts and aliens make clear that even our atmospheric border might be open to new visitors? While most people would likely respond with curiosity, a good number will respond with fear and even anger. Is there even a way to secure ourselves from a visit or an invasion like that? Do we hear someone chanting, "Build an atmospheric wall and make the aliens pay for it"? But those are all extremists, and at least the government should have things in order, right? Well, the governments of Earth have been planning for an alien first contact for a while, and while they're not always in sync, there is an international plan to follow. But that doesn't mean things will go smoothly. For one thing, any alien visitor will be bringing with them technology that would be far beyond anything we've seen, and the temptation will be high for governments to try to get their hands on it and then weaponize it. There have been persistent rumors that the government already has some alien technology thanks to supposed UFO crashes in the post-World War II years. While there's no proof that Area 51 is actually alien-related, it's likely that an alien visit would kick off a massive intelligence race to get the details of their ships and other technology. This could not only increase tensions between the nation here on Earth, but could get all of Earth in hot water if the aliens discover a spy. Okay, let's say we sidestep all those problems. Now what? Once humanity makes first contact with aliens, the focus will likely turn to what they can do for us. If humanity can gain their trust, we'll likely want to know about their medical system, their technology, and anything else that might enhance human life on Earth. The aliens may be willing to share this, but odds are they'll be a lot more hesitant to let us in on the details of their home world. And there's a very good reason for that. Humans visiting new worlds for the first time rarely results in anything good. We've talked about aliens colonizing us, but what happens if we're the colonists? The thing is, Earth isn't doing so great. We've got climate change, we've got diseases, and we've got a lot of humans who don't always have somewhere to live. So many people have been looking for a place to expand to. The most popular opportunity is Mars colonies, where humans would live in bunkers and only be able to exit wearing spacesuits. So the presence of a planet with potentially breathable atmosphere, inhabited by a species we've already befriended, is very tempting as a potential new home. So would history repeat itself? The difference between the colonialism of the past and this one would be that the aliens likely would be far better armed than the humans. Most native societies did have robust self-defenses, and many took the colonists by surprise with how fiercely they fought for their independence. But few societies could ultimately resist the superior navies and the resources of the crown, especially combined with the impact of disease wrecking the society. Attempting to colonize an alien planet would have a much higher likelihood of the humans being routed quickly. But if we took a peaceful alien society by surprise, they could soon find themselves as a colony of Earth. And that would raise a lot of questions about expansion. The human instinct to expand has always been with us, with explorations for new societies having been part of cultures for thousands of years. But that rarely ends in a shaking of hands and trading of wisdom. More often than not, it ends with two societies trading their best shots and one eventually coming to an end. Would that happen again if we made first contact with aliens? There are many scenarios where first contact is the worst thing to happen to humans, to aliens, or in some cases, both. Well, this is depressing, but what is the best case scenario for first contact? It's probably one where humanity's worst instincts are kept in check and the aliens are inherently benevolent. If governments are restrained enough to not run over each other to be the first to meet the aliens, and religion and politics stay out of it, the most likely scenario is that humans are fascinated with aliens. After all, this is the biggest discovery in human history, proof of a society out in the cosmos that has taken many of the same evolutionary steps as us, but followed a very different path. And what's the first thing we probably do in that case? Well, put them on TV, of course. Ironically, the saving grace of the aliens who make first contact might be that capitalism has a very big vested interest in keeping them safe. As soon as they step out of the spaceship, the aliens will be the biggest celebrities in the world. And while governments and religions are concerned with what this means for the future, Hollywood will want to get the most out of them now. The reporter who gets the first interview with an alien representative will become a historical icon. And how long before an enterprising producer decides to try to cast the first alien on Dancing with the Stars? But with increased visibility comes increased risk. Alien discourse has been filled with conspiracy theories for decades already, and media representation often has a big impact on how we view other people. So will our demonization of aliens in media impact how we act to our new acquaintances? Well, at least there's ALF and E.T. to balance things out, plus Star Trek has been showing us a future where humans and aliens coexist in the cosmos since the 1960s. So basically, first contact with aliens could work out. If humanity brings the best of the best to the negotiating table, the aliens come with our best interests in mind, religion and politics don't get in the way, and Hollywood behaves responsibly and sensibly, and above all, everyone needs to listen to the advice the scientists give us about a monumental moment in human history with plenty of risks and opportunities. Yeah, that should be fine. We can trust everyone to act reasonably. Send out the signal. For a look at how this could play out, check out first 72 hours after aliens make contact hour by hour, or watch this video instead.